Whoa! Welcome late November, folks. Woo! Man, am I glad that this car is warm in here. The good thing about having an electric vehicle is that it's all preset on the app to get in here and have this steering wheel lovely and warm. Your seat's warm, the cabin warm, any ice gone off your windows. Wow, a pleasure to have. We have remote starts and basics on fossil fuel cars, but they do not compare, trust me on this one, in comparison to owning an EV during the winter. This brings me on now, cleverly folks, to things that are myths about electric vehicles. And there's quite a few. I've picked 6 or 7 to have a debate and a chat about on my channel, because I do a lot of forum talking. I do a lot of posts on Facebook. I run 2 or 3 different sites on Facebook. And also with this channel, it brings on a lot of, I wouldn't say hatred, but it brings on a lot of anti-EV folk who want to not debate with you, but state crap. Basically crap. And I've got to call them myths, not crap. So this video is going to be all about 6 or 7 myths that have been brought about by the people who don't own an electric car, and Big Oil, as a phrase I love to use, has posted these things and made these myths the way they are today. So I'll go through them best I can. I'll try and explain my way of looking at it and why I believe that they are total myths. And hopefully it might change 1 or 2 minds out there. And if it does, that's all I'm doing this for. Please enjoy. Please support my son's new channel. There is a link below. Thank you, guys. I know you will. Towing with an electric car. It's one of the myths that a lot of people who tow a lot of the time kind of push this on forums and posts. This can tow. This is a Model 3 standard range, nothing special, you know, as Teslas go. It has a towing capacity of around 1,000 kilos. Let's say a ton. A ton is a decent sized, medium sized trailer, or a small trailer with a couple of trail bikes on the back, or something of that nature. That's less than a ton to tow. That's the very basics of saying that electric cars can tow. If I tow a small trailer behind this, I would estimate to lose a small trailer with less than a ton. I would estimate to lose something in the region of about 50 to 60 mile range. Now, this is where the myth has been brought about by people with pickup trucks. In the US especially, hello my American subscribers and friends, thanks for subscribing while I'm at it. If you've not subscribed, where have you been? Get on the channel now. My name's KK, glad you're here for the first time if it is your first time. If so, click the subscribe button, bang the bell icon, all done. Anyway, let's get back to it. So yes, my friends in the US, some of them drive pickup trucks. The pickup truck in the US is a very, very common vehicle. In places of Texas and Arizona and New Mexico and whatever, it's every other vehicle you see is a pickup truck. So when the F-150 Lightning hit, the only thing and the biggest thing that came out on every post and every forum against the Lightning was the fact that it can only do 50 mile if it's towing a big trailer. Well, okay, it does lose 50% nearly of its range when it's towing a huge 5,000 pound, 5 ton, 6 ton trailer or whatever on the back. Now, the average range should be around 220 mile. Now, obviously, like I say, if you're going to lose 50%, I'm going to say that's about 100 mile of towing range with a large trailer on the back, but they can tow. So this absolute BS about electric vehicles can't tow. They can. Nearly all of them can tow something. Now, there is some Teslas, i.e. the Model X, for example, that I know can tow huge amounts. And don't forget that the Model X top range battery spec has got a guaranteed range of about 320 mile. So if you're going to be towing something with that, and I think Tesla estimate as well, at its maximum tow level, you'll probably end up losing around 40% of the range. But that's still going to give you 170 mile. Well, where are you going? You know, unless you're towing something miles upon thousands of miles, yeah, you're gonna have to stop a few times, get it charged up. It's a pain in the ass, but they do tow. I would say within 5 years, there'll be an EV out there that will do 300-mile range normally, and when it's towing, it might only lose 20, 30 mile. That's gonna happen, trust me, that will happen. And they'll put a tow pack on an EV, which will help it. They'll have different motors and whatever. Let's move on. Oh, excuse me, you just caught me going through YouTube here, sitting in the Model 3. Let's get on to the next one then. EVs are not fast. I still come across this. Where this myth came from regarding EVs being slow or not fast, go and see what a Tesla Plaid, P-L-A-I-D, Plaid Model S can do on 0 to 60, 0 to 100 and standing start quarter mile.
2.0.
Go and see what a Tesla Model 3 can do, a performance model, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. I've had V8 muscle cars that have had 0 to 60s of around 4.1, 4.2 out of factory. In fact, 1 or 2 have been modded to get that kind of speed. That Model 3 performance will eat them. If you want to, if you need to see extremes of how electric cars can perform, look at Hoonigan. A lot of people out there know who Hoonigan is. He's a racing driver and a stunt driver and a very professional driver who has been in the business a long time, rallying and everything else. And he puts his hand behind the wheel and is a magician. Get on YouTube and just put in the search Hoonigan electric cars. Then you'll see the Mach-E prototype that Ford did. Go and watch that perform in his hands. There's also a rally car out now that Ford have produced that he uses, there's also that's also on YouTube, so you'll find it on here, no problem whatsoever. If you want more than that and say, oh, they don't handle, well, again, it's a myth. They do. Go and look at the numbers that a standard Model 3 can produce around the Nuremberg Ring in Germany. It matches most M3, M4 type of lap records and lap times, especially the performance model. In fact, it probably beats them now and again. So just go and check that out. I owned a 2015 Mustang GT 5-litre V8 in black, full American spec, but in the UK, left-hand drive. It was lacking nothing. It was a fully loaded vehicle. But very embarrassingly, there was 1 or 2 times when I was at the lights and there was a grocery getter EV on my right-hand side. And that thing kept with me all the way up to about 60 from standing start. That was the time when I knew I had to get out of V8 muscle cars and get into electric cars to get that same vibe or better, and to do it in fluid, silent power, which I still think now, after 4 years of EV ownership, is an amazing thing. So let's move on. I'm not waiting 8 to 10 hours to charge my EV. Whoever thinks that you actually sit and wait for 8 or 10 hours while you do anything in life? Why would it be any different charging an EV? Let's put this myth to rest again. Let me start from home charging. I've mentioned this time and time again. If you are one of the lucky ones, and it's around 68% here in the UK, who can have access to a drive or parking where they have something at home that they can charge with. Okay, the other 32% or whatever it is might struggle, but there is ways and means, but I'm not going to go into that today. So you've got 68% of the population got a drive, so you've got a home charger. So that kind of helps tremendously, because you're not waiting on yourself there. You come home, you plug it in, you go and have some tea, you have a cold beer, you watch television, and then you go sleep. And then in the morning, when you get up after 8, 10, 12 hours, even a large battery is fully charged. So you're not waiting around for 8 hours or 10 hours. I can't have 8 hours waiting around for my car to charge. I'm too busy. Wow. It's a total myth about the 8 and 10 hour malarkey. I'm going to use Tesla as an example, but it's very easy for me to do this. Isn't the only reason why I do it. I'm not a fanboy. I do love me Tesla, but I do also like other EVs. So I'm not 100% fanboy, but for me at the moment, Tesla is the baby. I can drive this Tesla. Again, I've mentioned it before, has a range of around 255 to 265, depending on how you drive it, weather and everything else. So even if I got 240 mile out of a full tank and then went into a charge at, say, a Tesla supercharger, at maximum than this can take, and I went in with, say, 20% left, within 30 minutes, this vehicle will have 200 mile back in it. Where's your 8 hours or 10 hours come from, people? This took me 35 minutes, and while I've been doing that 35 minutes at a Tesla supercharger, the chances are I've been watching YouTube. I've been on Netflix, all on this big screen in this lovely Model 3. Or I've done a bit of work on a laptop. I've done a bit of work on an iPad. Or I've gone in, had a pee, got a coffee, and had a sandwich. Where do you get this 8 to 10 hours of charging and being wasted, waiting, sitting while it charges that length of time? I don't get it. This, I think, comes from some very, very uneducated people who are so solid in their granddad's rights of carrying on with fossil fuel cars. It would not matter what you told them, what you showed them, and even this, what I'm doing now, they'd call me a liar. They won't believe that I can get 200 mile within about 35 minutes in this Tesla. And trust me, within 2 to 3 years, I think there's going to be cars out there, maybe 4 years definitely, there's going to be cars on the market, medium priced EVs, that will put nearly 300 miles in a tank in under 10 minutes. That is coming, folks, trust me. And when that day comes, this myth will be looked upon as, who the hell sat down and thought of that? I don't know. Anyway, that's that one done. I hope that again busts it out the park for you. Please don't believe these people that, you know, if you buy an EV, you're sitting at a charger for 8 hours while it charges. Let's move on again. Here's one of my favourite ones. I love this one. Batteries don't last more than 3 years. Oh dear. I've been on forums and on posts, and the ultra ignorant out there. Batteries don't last more than 3 years. You'll be spending 20,000 and putting a new battery in an EV. You're a fool for buying one. Oh my God. You know, if they even say to me now, batteries don't last 6 years, I still have the same laugh. And I know I shouldn't. Anyway, folks, I'm going to quickly go over this one to say that the average battery pack on any EV, no matter if it has a BMS system, battery management system, or not, is outlasting even what the early producers thought they would. There's still 8-year-old cars with 100,000 mile on the clock, still going around with 84% battery pack left in. They don't just pack up, they degrade. Again, this is all mentioned on this post here. Check it out, it's on my channel. If you want to know about EV degradation and what's happened with my last 3 cars, go and have a look at that one. It's on there, folks. It's a good one to watch, actually. So yeah, check it out. There's some cars out there with excessive mileage on them. We're talking 300,000 miles on the original battery pack, and even the original motors at 8-year-old. There's quite a few Tesla Model S's actually proving that. There is the odd lemon. There's my lemon come up now on the screen, look. Buy a lemon. You're always going to get a lemon. Now, if a battery pack starts to fail within 8 years, normally you'll get a brand new one fitted under warranty. That's the basics. There is more to it than that, but that's the basics. So for 8 years, you've got coverage on that battery pack anyway. So if you know that if it degrades less than 80%, they're going to put a brand new battery in, all done and dusted, totally free. That is very, very, very rare. I've been into EVs now for 4 years. I've been interested in them for about 5 or 6 years. I know a lot of people with EVs, early EVs, and I've only come across 1 or 2 people in thousands of people I've met that have had a battery degradation problem where they've had to have it replaced. mainly Nissan, the early Nissan Leafs. So why do you think these companies give you that warranty if it gives up in 3 years? Nissan would be bust by now. Tesla would be going under by now. Come on. So I think the EVs of in 5 years' time come on the new market will give you, I believe that the warranty will go to 10 years or even 12. So forget this pathetic nonsense that every EV will be putting a brand new battery in within 3 years, 5 years, 6 years, 10 years. It don't happen, folks. Let's move on again. Alrighty, my next one. I like this one as well. I can't afford an EV. They cost 70 to 80,000. Sorry? Okay, let's bring this one home to roost and tell you why I think it's a myth that people don't seem to think that there is $20,000 to $30,000 and pounds EVs out there. YouTube, love YouTube, got my own channel as you are watching now, but it can have an adverse effect on how people see things. Now, what I mean by that is, if you were watching YouTube, you'd probably be watching a review on a brand new EV if they interested you that much. Brand new EVs, top spec models, are the ones that get the most views, purely because that's the ones that people want to know about, the fastest, the ones that handle, the ones that sound, and I did say sound slightly different from others, how they, whatever, because it's a Porsche, because it's a Bentley, because it's a Rolls Royce. The same will be when Range Rover release their electric Range Rover, if they don't go bust by then. The first reviews on them will have massive views. The problem is, folk watch these reviews and then realise the price and go, this is ridiculous. EVs can't cost this much. How's the normal man in the street going to afford an EV? So straight away, all EVs are put into the same bracket of unaffordable. A Tesla, for example, this one I'm sitting in now, if you watch my posts like this one here, yep, that baby there tells you how much I paid for this. Check it out if you've not seen it. 47k, I'll be the first to admit, I paid 47k for this at 3-month-old. That's a lot of money. That's the most I've ever spent on a car. And it is a lot of money. For some folk it's not, for others it is. But this was virtually brand new. My advice is, stop looking at brand new top spec EVs on Google and YouTube and everywhere else. Bring it down a level, get used to the fact that there is a used market, and get used to the fact of looking at EVs, maybe even the top of your budget. That might only be 30k, might only be 25, but there's some out there. This here, yep, that there is from MG. They're a Chinese company, nothing to do with the original MG brand in the UK, nothing apart from the badge. The badge is the same. They just bought the brand. It collapsed. The brand collapsed. The new MG brand, Chinese owned, Chinese built, are getting quite good. The early SUV one, this one here, this weren't great. Software was laggy and it was their first attempt to break into the Euro market. Since that SUV, they've come out with an estate car, the MG5. Yep, that one there. And now the MG4. The MG4 is around the same size as a Ford Focus, so it could be classed as a family car. It also has a WLTP range of over 200 mile. Take notice of that. You're going to get around 170, 175 in the winter, and around 190 at the very most in the summer. So don't expect any more than that. Now the build quality, I've not reviewed one yet, but I will get round to it, is meant to be very good. Far better than you anticipate. Performance is average to diddling. It's okay, it's an EV, it's always fluid power. So for 24k, I don't see where this expense comes from, because a mid-range BMW, Audi, French car is going to cost you between 20 to 45,000 anyway, an old fossil car. Any fool buying a petrol or diesel car now, or even a hybrid to a point, to me is a fool, because those things are going to collapse in price over the next, what, 4 to 6 years. We all know that all cars lose money. Even this Model 3, this lovely thing I'm in now, is going to lose money. I'm not going to get my money back on it. MG have banged the market apart. In the next couple of years, there's going to be 2 to 3 years, definitely, there's going to be a lot of Chinese vehicles over here from BYD and a couple more from MG and maybe NIO. They're going to have a base model. Now, the Aura Cat is out here at the moment. Far too much money. Yeah, ugly looking thing, that thing there. The Aura Cat, not worth £32,000. I'll be the first to admit to that for an electric car with the range it's got and how unrefined it is. That's made by a company called Great Wall Motors. Great Wall Motors used to make a pickup truck, a good 10 years ago, and sell it in the UK. An old fossil fuel thing. Didn't sell great, but they did make them. They've been making cars for 38 years in China, and they're well respected. They will be another company to bring over a 20k or even under 20k EV within the next 2 to 3 years. This will completely kill the fossil fuel car market as we know it today. Annihilate it. So please, another myth gone. I'm not going to rant about this one much longer because I've gone on a bit on this one. They are not all 70, 80, 90, 100,000 pounds or dollars. Please look at cheaper ones. Please open your brain, open your mind a bit, and think of the next 2 to 4 years and what it's going to do. Let's move on again. Okay, last and final one on the, I think it's 6 I chose, myths of EVs. This one's, they hold no second-hand value. I find this one a bit unbelievable why people seem to think that. I've had 3 used EVs. If I count this as used at 3 months, I suppose you've got to really. It was, nearly 4 months old when I bought it. So yes, it was a used vehicle. It had 3,500, 4,000 miles on the clock. So I've had 3 used EVs. One of the very early Nissan Leafs, an i3 in this one, and you all know that. I've said it many times. So the used market is where to go if you need something a little cheaper. You haven't got the 25, 35, 40,000 to buy new. I know in the UK there are a lot of good quality EVs with quite low mileage, fetching good money, but on the other hand are good value. I didn't like the little smart car, but if you're a young girl who doesn't do a great deal of mileage, uses it for a 20-mile commute either way, goes out at weekends with your mates in it, the little Smart for example, I've seen 2017s, 2018s of them for 12, 14 grand. That's a 3-4 year old car with low mileage, nippy in traffic, loaded with all the toys, aircon, glass roofs, everything. Perfect to park for around 14k. So I don't see a problem with the used market, and there is a good value for them, and that it is very buoyant, and that it is a good second-hand marketplace, and it's getting bigger. For every new EV registered, the second-hand market expands. That's the way it goes. The expansion of the used EV market can only be good for people on fixed budgets, on the lower budget sector, who want the first EV but can't buy new. It's as simple as that. No more, no less than you would do with a fossil fuel car. Used marketplace, great place to get a good quality EV. Don't be put off by it. There is a good second-hand market because everything is demand and supply. Anyway, that was my final one. Hope that kind of helps everybody. Hope some of them myths have been put to sleep. I'd love to do another one of these because I can think of an instant 6 more myths that would completely fly in here. Any comments, please drop below. If you're not subscribed, why not? Where you been? Please do so, you know that. And when you subscribe, ring that bell icon, click on it, cling, so you'll get it. All my new posts will come out and you'll be the first to get them. Anyway, I'm gone. Bye.